Hey guys, what is up, and I welcome you all to a new League of Legends video. So this is a video that I ended up remaking from a while ago, and a lot of people have been actually requesting this video for quite some time. And if you have not already guessed, we are going to be talking about Lux in the mid lane. So to be completely truthful, this is a champion I really never thought I would ever play, let alone be one of my better champions. Lux has always kind of been behind the scenes. I mean, she hasn't really been nerfed or really buffed for a very long time. Even the recent changes aren't necessarily huge buffs. And because of her not really getting the spotlight in any of the patches, she has not really been seen as a contender for the best mid laner, or just at least a very strong mid laner. And once again, to be brutally honest, ever since the new skin for Lux came out, I ended up buying it, trying it out. I thought it was a pretty cool skin. And after playing Lux, I realized, you know what, this is actually a really good champion if you know how to play her correctly. And ever since then, I've been playing Lux quite often, to the point where she's now my highest level champion out of any champion masteries that I have on my main account. And she has probably the best KDA I have out of any champion on my main account as well. So believe me when I say this comes as a surprise to me, like it probably does to some of you. So with that being said, in this video I'll go through the pros, the cons, the item builds, the runes, the masteries, and all that good stuff. And I'll also be comparing Lux to Xerath in some parts of the video. But let's get on with the show. So the positives of Lux is the fact that she really is an overall very safe champion, especially when it comes to the laning phase. The only problem is that it does come with a bit of patience, because she isn't as aggressive as someone, for instance, like a Xerath, who has 3 offensive spells, not including his ultimate. Lux, of course, her W being an only defensive spell. So the amount of pressure she can provide and the chance she has to kill her opponent in just a simple 1v1 duel isn't necessarily as high as a Xerath. But at the same time, it's also a lot harder for her to die. But if you do end up getting a gank for yourself, I mean, the chances of getting the kill are pretty much the same as Xerath, because they both have a very solid CC type ability, though Xerath's is of course a stun, while Lux's is only a snare, though albeit of course she can hit 2 people with it. Probably one of the best things about Lux in the laning phase, in my honest opinion, is her E ability, because the range on it is insanely high, on top of it being a huge AoE circle. So being able to zone your opponents or just simply harass your opponents whenever they go for the CS with this ability should be very easy. And this is going to be something you have to get really used to doing, because this is your only real and true form of harass in the laning phase, unless your opponent for whatever reason lets you snare them. And with her E ability, she can also clear waves somewhat okay. I have to say it's only okay, because if you're not very ahead, her E ability is not going to wipe a wave, let alone maybe even kill the caster minions. Which is why most of the time it will require your ultimate to completely clear the wave, which at that point you'll clear almost any wave without much problems. However, having to rely on your ultimate to wave clear is not something you want to do, while someone like a Xerath can simply clear a wave with 1 Q and 1 W. But the good thing about her E ability, even though the wave clear is not on par compared to a Xerath, is the fact that this E ability can be used to zone out your enemy, throwing out a choke point, throwing it within a fight, and just overall slowing them down, and it really gives you a lot of control. Her W can be completely life-saving, especially in certain teamfights or if you get dove, which is why I love barrier, especially against assassins. A lot of people simply don't expect the amount of shield you get from both of these abilities combined, and a lot of times they fall for the bait. Now her W is something I feel like a lot of people will be forgetting to use, especially use efficiently, but if you can remember and if you end up getting used to it, your teamfights will be so much stronger, just because you're giving all your team, or at least some of your team, a huge shield. A small point, but also extremely important when it comes to her full burst combo, is the fact that her ultimate ends up proccing her passive, which any other ability that she has does not. Which means that her full burst combo is insanely strong, even though her sustained damage isn't as high as Xerath. But I'll go more into how you want to combo your opponents down later. Her ultimate late game can be at about a 35-second cooldown, and overall just a solid champion who has more utility and potentially more burst than a Xerath, but much less sustained damage, since of course Xerath does have the extra damage ability being his W, and he can dish out these abilities much more frequently and easier. And of course Xerath's poke and wave clear is a lot stronger. But Lux, though I definitely don't think she's overpowered by any means, has very good control if you play her correctly. But moving on to the negatives of Lux, like I've said several times so far, she has less poke and less sustained damage than Xerath, so if that's what you're looking for, Xerath is probably a better option, especially if you have a more impatient kind of playstyle. Not sure if this is really a con, but she is down 1 damaging spell, which in solo queue could be a bad thing, especially when you're trying to really hard carry. She's purely skill shot oriented, no built-in escapes, and she can be challenging to play in teamfights, since she is a very control heavy type mage, so you have to play the teamfights very properly to make sure the fight is going how you want it to go. But let's move into the next part of the video, the item build. This is going to be actually quite straightforward, but there's one really cool exception that I almost never make. Starting things off, Adorans and a few potions is probably your best bet. And almost always I build the exact same items. I start off with the Morellonomicon. Usually I like to still go into the Ludens just to add to her burst, and then Sorg Boots are a must, and then absolutely very late into the game when you have all your other items, you can switch them out for Lucidity if you're not at 40% CDR. Other than that, I really feel like it is quite straightforward, but the one exception I make, and only on this champion, just because at how safe you can play her while still being effective, is the Magi Soul Stealer, which is the second item in the other options category, the book. She is one of the few champions that can honestly stack this item up and feel somewhat safe doing it. So if you end up getting this, I like to usually get it after my Morellonomicon, because by then I can determine whether or not I feel safe enough to get this item. The runes I run whenever I play Lux, for the most part, tends to be this page right here: Magic Pen Reds, HP per level Yellows, AP per level Blues, and then flat AP Quints. Other options include, if you're against an AD mid laner, you want the Armor Yellows, or you can completely swap out the AP per level Blues and then throw in CDR per level Blues. And for the Masteries, which usually are also quite straightforward, I run 2109, but make sure to swap this around to whatever you think might work better for you. And a new thing I want to start doing in these types of videos is talk about general tips for the champion. Think of this as what I think will probably be the frequently asked questions. So first things first, the full combo you usually want to do with Lux is to land your Q, throw your E, use your ultimate, which will proc your Q's passive, explode your E, and then auto attack. The other option that takes a lot more time but has more damage is to throw your Q, throw your E, auto attack, auto attack, explode your E, and then auto attack one more time. Make sure that you farm safely and harass with your E ability while hitting the CS and also the champion, then following up with an auto attack to proc the passive. And don't forget, Lux is a very safe, control-oriented type mage, so play her defensively but smart. Chill in the back of the team fights, keep throwing out spells, throw out the shield for your team, and play it correctly and safely. Control the team fight. But on the flip side, she can also play as an assassin, bursting down an unsuspecting victim by using the first combo I mentioned while you're hiding, waiting for them. The final rating to close off the video that I'm giving to Lux is 7 out of 10. Personally, I have a lot of success with this champion, but I rarely see other people play her correctly and how she should really be played, which really makes it hard for me to understand if she really is a strong champion or she happens to oddly fit my playstyle. But all in all, she is definitely a champion that is solid, that is getting some much deserved love, and I'm really playing her quite a lot, and I recommend you guys try playing her as well. But that is it for this video, guys. Again, if you did enjoy it, please definitely throw in a like, share it with your friends because it helps me so much. Subscribe if you haven't, and please check out my other videos as well. But once again, guys, I hope you enjoyed it and hope to see you for the next one. Peace.